All right, what's up, you guys? This is Devin from CenturyFX Studios, and we're back with another video. Now, if you didn't watch my last video, you probably didn't see this scene, but here in this scene, I'm outside in the snow and everything like that. So we got to take that into context before we even judge anything that I'm about to show you guys today, because a lot of people like to get it right in the camera first, but sometimes you don't get that luxury. Maybe it's depending on your camera. Maybe it's depending on the weather conditions outside, the model or the photographer. Everybody's human, nobody's perfect. So you want to be able to deliver a professional product beyond the fact that you're not perfect. So here we have an image with a model. She's actually 6 feet, but I wanted to make her look larger than life on this stump. So I kind of got down on her level, but at the same time, I wanted to break the horizon line. So to try to keep it a little bit closer to the rule of thirds, I wanted her on the rule of thirds. I wanted to kind of display the actual background. So that's some of the reasons why I put her on the rule of thirds. In this particular image, I didn't really break the horizontal rule, but I really wanted that horizon to actually stay in there, because when I go to level it, it makes it nice and easy, but I really wanted just to display the background. So I didn't want to get too low, or I would have kind of superimposed her and the actual stump itself a little bit more than the background. So I wanted to kind of keep it level. So a lot of people like to break the horizon line and actually bring the horizon above the person so you can see some more of the background. But there's not much more on the background. Excuse me. You would actually bring the camera up to display more of the background, but there's not too much there on the background, and then you would get down so you would display more of the ground or the foreground. But here I'm standing right in the middle, because unlike what I said a couple of minutes ago, I didn't really break the horizon line in this image, but I did in the last image. So that's why I was confused. But on to this image here. The way the focus points are set up on the 7D Mark One, this is a 9-year-old camera, came out in 2009. The way the focus points are set up, you have one multi-super cross type or multi-cross type focus point in the center, but all the other ones around it are just regular cross type focus points. So they don't really catch focus as fast as the other ones do. So if you're using, say, for instance, a prime lens, and you're using f2.8, which a lot of people use during photo or portrait photography, you are at a loss for focus. So your camera has a hard time focusing, especially on these outer extremity points where the camera focuses better on the center than it does on the outside. So in this case, I wasn't able to nail her on a third and get her in focus without focusing and recomposing. I noticed that I was really missing out on a lot of shots when I was shooting at 2.0 and 2.8, so on and so forth, just shallower depth of field apertures, and it really was getting on my nerves. So what I decided to do was shoot an image that I knew I had tact focused on her eye, and I decided to, instead of recomposing my frame, just getting my frame a little off and fixing it in post. Now, like I said before, guys, I wanted her nailed on the rule of thirds. Why? Because the other 2/3 of the image was supposed to be devoted to showing the background. I wanted to show people that I was in the snow. I wanted to show people what we were going through out there. But at the same time, the snow is a really beautiful type of setting. So with all that being said, what I did here in Photoshop was, first in Lightroom, I got it leveled, and I like to use that little ruler to keep me leveled, and having the horizon line right down dead in the center really helped that, and it really helped to show the background. So that's why I kept it, again, the horizon line towards the middle of the image, whereas a lot of people might keep it somewhere else. All right, moving on. Now, once I got the crop right, or the leveling right, because it's a horizontal landscape image, so it's gonna really be like on your eyes to notice whether it's leveled or not. So I didn't have a lot of things to level off of except that horizon line in the background, and the horizon line wasn't perfect, but I think I got this nailed quite good. And so what I did in Photoshop was I brought it back, and I clicked the crop tool. Everybody knows what a crop tool looks like. And then I opened the image up a little bit more. And when I opened that image up a little bit more, it allowed me to actually bring her closer to the right rule of thirds on my image. Does that make sense? So I opened up the frame a little bit more, and not just the length and not just the width, but both, using one of those little angle brackets. And I just widened the image a little bit more so it's perfectly splitting her eye. I believe it was her closest eye to the rule of thirds. I used that and I split it. I didn't want too much on the right side of the image, excuse me, to be seen, so I didn't want it really distract from her. But at the same time, I wanted enough to know what was the context on the left side of it. So with that being said, I got all that in there. Open the image up a little bit more for the rule of thirds, and there you go. You have recomposed the frame in post, because I couldn't achieve my focus in the timely manner that I wanted to, because it was freaking cold outside and I was really tired, and I was like, if I lock focus on this image and I didn't get focus on the properly composed image, I'm just gonna fix it in Photoshop. I really don't have the time to be sitting out here for 3 hours in the cold, and I can't feel my finger. I can barely push down on the shutter button. So those are some of the things that I was dealing with, and this is when you can take the camera, and I knew if I get it right focus wise, then I can fix everything in post. All right, this is Devin from CenturyFX Studios, and stay tuned for the next episode.